If this is stabilized, it's great. If it's not, it might still be almost perfect. Let's find out. Hey, what's up? My name's Cameron Doherty, and today we're going to be taking another look at the NuPhy Air95. So I just recently published a full comprehensive review of what I thought of this keyboard, and my overall sentiment was that it's almost perfect. And so today we're going to be taking a look and having a first impressions about the new big brother to the Air75, which is the Air96. So if you need that 10 key, this is the one for you, but there's some other new exciting changes that I want to take a look at and see if almost perfect maybe becomes perfect. Let's find out. Looking at everything that comes in the box, got the keyboard itself, got a nice key puller, some extra keycaps. You can change the color of your enter keys if you'd like to have both be orange or both be light blue in this case. And it also gives the Mac and PC versions of those keys. I'm happy to see that they've done this again, where they have given one of all of the key switch types. And we're going to talk about the different key switches that are on this compared to the previous generation. And then last is a USB-A to USB-C cable. So nice normal braided cable, pretty good there. All right, the keyboard itself. So you can probably already tell that I got the white version here, and I'm very excited to see what this looks like. I do love the little slogan that they put on here, focus on the fun in function. One of the things that I really love about this keyboard is just how fun, and I've described it as whimsical. It's the coloring, the light bars, there's so many things on it that just make it interesting and fun. And I'm glad that they're calling that out because they should be. They should be embracing that because that's such a big part of what they're doing. All right, it is absolutely beautiful. I really do like this white color. It's got so much character to it, and it's going to fit in certain people's setups. I know there's folks out there that have all just whited out setups, like a nice white gaming PC, something like that. This is gonna look sick on the desk with those, especially with the little pops of color that you can get that probably don't come in many other white keyboards where you're probably getting like all white everything. In this case, you can have that really cool white with a little bit of here and there, a little pizzazz. Really adding to like complementing the RGB and just having those little key designs. So as you can tell, this is a very different colorway, having the full white rather than the gray, and there is still the dark gray option if you want to get it in this size, but I decided to go with the white to mix it up, and as you can see, it's just white all the way around, very pretty. The keycaps here are lighter. So you can see that the dark gray accents compared to the very light gray accents, which I think goes really well with this. There are a whole bunch of keycap options with the NuPhy Air lineups, so you can get all sorts of different replacement ones if you don't like what comes with it, and you can kind of customize it to be the way that you want. That's part of the fun of mechanical keyboards. So if you're not happy with what it looks like, you can switch to those. Taking a look at the key layout, it looks like there's just a couple changes. So the function row is largely the same. They've got media controls, they've got volume controls, there's some brightness controls that are removed, and where there used to be a smart assistant key, it looks like they maybe have moved that over and changed the icon. I just don't think smart assistant keys make sense, but it looks like it's probably still there. Otherwise, there's obviously the addition of the 10 key over here, and the important thing to call out on that is that there is a smaller 0 key. So I'm somebody that has a pretty good muscle memory, and I think I will have to adjust where I put my thumb a little bit for the 0, because I am generally used to hitting that on the left-hand side because it's generally like a double-sized button. But in order to fit the full arrow keys here, they had to kind of smush that in. On top of that, we do have the home and page up, page down buttons across the top, which is interesting. So obviously on a 100% keyboard, you expect to see them in between the number pad and the keys. In this case, in order to smush everything together, they have the option of either making it a row down or a column in the middle there between the two, or putting them across the top. They went with across the top. I kind of wish they had done it down as a column, because if you do that, then you don't need to have the smaller 0, but that would add another key's worth of width to the keyboard, which one thing I can say is this is impressively thin because it is only, 3 fingers, so like a few inches, like 2.5, 3 inches probably longer wider than the old version, and it actually feels smaller than I expected. So if you're used to a big full-size keyboard that with the spaced out keys and everything, this is gonna be much smaller than that, and it's gonna feel much more compact on your desk, which is pretty cool. As we come around to the back, one of the things that I was looking forward to seeing was the feet. So on this, you can see that there are these orange removable feet in order to adjust the height. And I am not a big fan of these. They work, and if you're never adjusting them, which I never really do, it's fine, but they're so easy to lose. They can pop off. It's nice to have actual retractable feet on here. It looks like pretty normal settings. I'm probably gonna go with the higher one. Actually, I might even go with the lower one as I'm feeling this. It is pretty vertical. And I think that the base level here, is a little bit taller. So the keyboard frame itself is the same, but the keys appear to be a little bit taller. Unless it's just my imagination. No, it definitely looks like the keys are slightly bigger. It doesn't actually look that big when I'm comparing it like this. And so you might not really see it on camera too much, but it's enough to notice when you've got the keyboard in front of you. They feel like they stick up more. Having used this keyboard and now seeing this for the first time, they feel like they stick up a little bit more. And I think that must be I think it's an NSA, I think is the keycap type. And it's a different way that they're made. It's a slightly different shape. And so because of that, it's a different keycap. And so it's something that is going to be slightly different. They are still PBT. And so they're still going to hold up against shine, but they also have a full set that you can get of ABS plastic with shine through. That's one thing, is these do not have shine through. And so if you want to have that, they make it nice and easy to grab some keycaps in order to make it shine through. So the next thing that's different here is that this keyboard has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which is kind of crazy. The old one, which I think had pretty good battery life, was 2,500 milliamp hours. And I honestly can't imagine that the, 15, 20 extra keys on the side here are going to make too big of a difference when it comes to battery life. There's not that much more lights. There's not really that much more going on. And so this thing is probably going to last for a very long time. Obviously, I haven't tried it out yet, just unboxed it, but 4,000 milliamp hours, I don't know of another slim mechanical keyboard that has that kind of battery. And so very excited to see what that translates to in terms of actual life. And the last changes are all around the sound. So the key switches and all of that. They advertise a new sound. They put some more internals in here that hopefully will address one of my major concerns, which was how hollow this keyboard sounds, and also how hollow it just feels when you're typing. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a little bit improved. One thing that I can do to test is that sounds very hollow. Interesting. It is slightly less hollow sounding. It's still cheap light plastic on the back, but compared to this, just feels much more hollow to me. And so that should help with the sound a lot. I think that was one of the big drivers, is that there's just extra air, extra space in there that was causing some reverberations and a sound that I wasn't too big of a fan of. In addition to what's going on inside, the switches themselves, I mentioned, are new. So they're still Gatoron low profile switches, but they are a version 2.0. And so they have a larger amount of travel. They're advertising almost as much as a full-size mechanical key switch, which is kind of crazy to fit it into such a small space. But then on top of that, they have red, blue, and brown 2.0, which is with the longer stem. And they introduced 3 new colors, and I got one of the new ones. And so they have interesting names. And so we have Aloe, Daisy, and Wisteria. And basically what I did is I knew I wanted to try one of the new ones. I listened to their video on their website of each of the 3 and decided on Wisteria. That was what sounded best to my ear. I've never typed on it. I still have been resisting the urge to press the keys to this point. And I think now is time. I want to do a typing test and see how this thing feels. This is really nice. I like this a lot. The only thing I would say from like a very much first impression feel is that it is a little bit less actuation force than I'm used to. And so I like, even just when I first started typing, I sort of blended one key into the other because they're so easy to press. So that'll be a little bit of an adjustment period. But the sound is beautiful. The hollowness that was here is replaced with a much thicker, much more full sound. You know, dare I say Faki? It's pretty darn good. I mean, for something out of the box, considering the fact that you could still mod this, people love to mod NuPhy keyboards. They're some of the top ones, it seems, out there for like just buying one out of the box and modding it up. I see people doing that all the time. This, I would not want to change at all. Even the larger keys, really nice. So I'm very much looking forward to typing on this on a daily basis. I think it's going to be just the right volume. It gives you that mechanical satisfaction without it being too loud. The hollowness is not really there. Wow, it's better than I expected. The keycaps also have a slightly different feel. They're a little bit taller on the edges, which makes sense with the fact that I was seeing them as slightly taller. So they're a little bit more concave in the middle. And so I like the feel of that. The material feels a little bit rougher, a little bit less smooth, a little bit more textured, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. So it kind of gives it a little bit more of a tactile feel to it. This is a pretty good keyboard. There is one thing though that I have to look at now, because we've checked some of the boxes here. We took an already awesome keyboard and we, number one, didn't mess it up because that's really easy to do. Number two, we made it look amazing. I love the white color scheme. I love the whole light, bright, snowy sort of appearance. We added in more switch options, that's awesome, and then made the whole thing sound better, which I was really skeptical when they said new sound, improved sound, all that. I was like, whatever. But dang, do I believe it. But there's one thing, and I've avoided it, so to try not to know in advance. We're gonna need one of these, because if you watched my review, you know that I use the right shift key, and my number one problem with this keyboard and why I really can't use it on a regular basis is the fact that the shift key on the right side is not stabilized. And so just kind of showing you there, you've got your key switch right in the middle, but you have no stabilizers on it. And so if they manage to stabilize this right shift key, this is getting very good reviews from me. I will tell you that right now, because I love everything about it thus far. Incredible battery life, I'm sure, with the 4,000 milliamp hours. If this is stabilized, it's great. If it's not, it might still be almost perfect. Let's find out. Oh, I don't think it is. No! NuPhy! Well, sad, but there is the wisteria switch. It's a little bit of a light purple, kind of lilac color, and no stabilizers there, which is kind of devastating. Let's see if I can tell. That might be a little bit more stable. I'm curious if the switch has a little bit more structure to it. So very similar, very similar. It all looks about the same, but this does have a lot of movement, and this is more stable. I don't know what is causing that. It might just be that over time it gets worn in a little bit. I will have to report back in a full review in the future, but that was one thing. Basically, if you did not see my other video, what I found out through using the original keyboard was that I only use the right shift key. Just the way that I learned to type, I never touched the left shift key. And when I talked to different people, I found that some people pretty much exclusively use left and some pretty much exclusively use right. And for me, the fact that the right shift key was not stabilized led to me pressing it in a way that was sort of moving it side to side, but not compressing the switch enough. And that meant that it was failing to register. And so that was a big problem for me because then all of a sudden I was missing capitalizing letters. So it might be better. I will have to let you know, but we were on the road there to being a basically perfect keyboard here with the improvements that they made and an already incredibly stellar product to begin with. But I still might not be able to use it because of the non-stabilizers. If anyone knows like a method, a way to stabilize a key, like if there's some sort of way to mod this to make it more stable, please let me know because I will happily make a video explaining that because I need it and I'm sure there's other people out there that need it as well. To wrap this up, I think this is a really cool keyboard, absolutely beautiful to look at. Love the light white color scheme. Love the 4,000 milliamp hour battery. I work in finance and accounting. I'm gonna be using the number pad a good bit. And so that's a good improvement for me. And then just overall, it's a NuPhy product. They make great keyboards. I'm looking forward to giving it a try. And that shift key is the only thing that stands in the way between an unbelievable keyboard, maybe even a perfect keyboard, and what might unfortunately still be an almost perfect keyboard. But those are my first impressions. I look forward to having a full review for you at some point in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.